Chairman, I now recognize Mr. Gohmert for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate all the witnesses' input today. I heard Dan Lundgren, a member of Congress, shortly after I got here, when the discussion in this committee was about the gross unfairness of having so much more severe sentences for crack cocaine as compared to powder cocaine. And we were told that that was racist to even have that. And Dan Lundgren had been here when that was passed, and he pointed out, and I went back and pulled some articles and found out he was right, that when the extraordinarily higher punishment for crack cocaine was passed through this committee in the House, there were members of the Congressional Black Caucus, including Charlie Rangel, that said, if you vote against this, then you're in favor of destroying the black community, that this crack cocaine is just a poison to the community, and we have got to have these more severe sentences. And so it was passed. You had a committee, you had all kinds of research, but for those of us that have been sentencing judges for felonies, most of us didn't see any reason for that kind of big disparity in sentencing. So a new committee, a better research committee, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have a solution to the problem. One of the concerns I have about blanket across the board decisions on sentencing after the fact is that most of the judges I know, I was a state felony judge, but federal judges as well have these massive pre-sentence reports, and some of us spend a tremendous amount of time agonizing over all the details in that pre-sentence report and trying to come to the right conclusion. And then to have somebody, some committee, some body come in and say, we don't know anything about this case, but we're going to come in and adjust that sentence. Well, they may not know what the judge knows from the pre-sentence report, that actually there was a gun involved, but in order to get someone to testify against a bigger guy, there was an agreement, we won't include the gun charge, so you'll get a lighter sentence. I mean, these are things that are considered at the trial court that don't get considered when this body comes in and says, we're going to have a blanket adjustment to sentencing. And there's been a good deal of criticism of President Trump for granting pardons in the military system. And I would encourage others on this committee, please join with me in helping reform the military justice system, because when you have the same commanding general that signs an order saying, I want this person prosecuted, and even without saying it, it's clear to every commander, everybody below the commanding general, that he wants him convicted or he wouldn't have signed the charge. And then the general gets to pick the people that will be on the jury, and the jury doesn't even have to be unanimous. It's a problem. And we have had a lot of unfairness in the military system. And I know that's not what anybody here is about. But when we're taking a look at unfairness in justice, that is a grave unfairness. And actually, President Trump didn't get everybody that should have gotten a pardon. One of the finest hires I've ever made was somebody that was treated that way in the military justice system. And he now works for me. He didn't get a pardon, but he's a brilliant guy, and he's going to help us make these changes. But I just point those things out. from somebody that has agonized over sentencing and tried to do the right thing in sentencing. It's not fair to have somebody come in that doesn't know the case you did and change the sentence, but we have got to work toward more fairness. I appreciate
you.
Yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired. I now recognize the gentlelady from Pennsylvania, Ms. Scanlon, for 5 minutes.